So imagine you have a file full of structured information like a list of presidents, and you want to import that information into MarkLogic as documents. You can import this data using MarkLogic Flux. Flux supports importing, exporting, copying, and reprocessing data via a simple command line interface. Flux can work with Progress Semaphore to classify the information as it is loaded. Semaphore will automatically assign categories or tags to documents for easier organization and retrieval in MarkLogic. This classification feature is particularly useful for organizations managing large-scale document ingestion and processing. This video will show you how to use the Flux command for importing data and add classification options that describe how to communicate with Semaphore during the import process. To import data using Flux from the command line, you need to specify the executable, the command name, and specifying 0 or more options. We use the ECO mnemonic to help you remember this order of operations. Here's an example of a Flux CLI executable. This file is located in the bin directory of the Flux application. Next, use the import Flux command to bring in aggregate JSON files into MarkLogic. Flux has dozens of commands for importing different data formats. This indicates the input file is in JSON lines format. This is the start of your options parameters. Next, this specifies the path to the source file containing JSON lines data. The connection string provides authentication credentials and host information for connecting to MarkLogic. Yours will depend on your MarkLogic configuration. This assigns role-based permissions to the imported documents for security and access control. And lastly, we assign these documents, which contain presidential information, into a collection named President. The result of running this command is the creation of 45 JSON documents from our input file. We can inspect these documents using the Query Console application. Let's select one file to view and see its contents. The first file is about Richard Nixon. You will see all the content about this U.S. president. The president's JSON file used in this presentation can be found in the GitHub link in the description under this video. So let's look at how to configure the Semaphore classification service. This service is running on the Progress Data Cloud, which requires a token fetcher URL and token. Semaphore classification is activated by specifying the classifier host option. Flux will call the Semaphore service for each document and embed the classification results into that document. The classifier options shown here will help set up a Semaphore classification service to work with your MarkLogic data. We specify the database name documents and the name is appended to the connection string line. Let's look at the options in detail. Classifier host, the host name or IP of the Semaphore server. Classifier port, this is the HTTPS port where Semaphore API listens, which is 8443. Our protocol is HTTPS for a secure connection. The endpoint for classifier token path option. And lastly, the endpoint for classifier path option. Here is an example of presidential data before any classification is performed. Here is the result after classification has been performed by the classification service of Semaphore. Semaphore adds various semantic categories that can assist you in your data analysis tasks. We encourage you to explore the full version of Semaphore in the Progress Data Cloud to build your semantic project. Thank you for viewing this presentation. For additional resources, check the description below.